What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here of the Nolecast. That's Chuck Blunt. That's Nile, Lawrence-Stample, and we are coming to you again with another preview. This time it is Florida State taking on the road to go travel to see the Stanford Cardinal, a football team that you just might be able to beat. Man, I hope you can beat them. Shoot. What's going on, guys? This is interesting time to be doing this show.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't really know what to expect, just given what we've seen for the better part of 18 months. Like, we thought 2-10 was over, and maybe it's not. I don't know. Hopefully they take care of business, but I'm preparing myself for the worst. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the team has been so up and down. Norvell's tenure has been so up and down. It's really hard to know what is going on. I feel like everyone in Nole Nation is kind of just like, I don't know, let's just hold on and see what happens. So that's kind of, at least from what my thought process is, that's kind of what this game is going to look like. Hopefully that's not what it actually looks like, but at least that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like we're going to have to just hold on and see what we got.
A lot of unknowables here. One certain knowable here is that the legendary team is always great for anybody who needs a home loan. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, obviously they have licenses all over the place. Chad's going to do a great job taking care of you. That's 844 FSU loan is, of course, the number to call. Also, guys, we got packages. I need y'all's address so I can send them to you. But check this out. Got a package here. Don't want to show my address on the air, so open this up. We got a box, guys.
What we got here?
Look at that. And what is oh, this is pretty neat. Look at that.
Nice little cozy.
Noles with the Texas logo there.
There you go.
Look, the Seminole Club of North Texas, which I believe is like the Dallas Fort Worth there. That's pretty dope, actually.
Oh, that is hard.
Look at
that. That. That's really nice.
They sent us a couple of those, so we'll have to go ahead and put that up there on the set. And another koozie. Oh, nice. But yeah, the North Texas Noles, they sent us a card. I'll go ahead and read this. So they're big fans of the show. Thank you. Awesome. Oh, that is fantastic. This one's actually to Danny, so I got to give this one to Cannell, and the other one I assume is our box as well. They're duplicates. That is really cool, man. So thank you, Kara, the president of the Seminole Club of North Texas. Also got a couple beads for the boys, and a pretty awesome shirt here.
Oh, I like that logo. That's really good.
I do like that. That logo looks hard. I'm not gonna lie.
I need somebody to make that with an Ohio state image for the O, because that's perfect, man.
Chuck, you might be the founding member of that. if is there a Seminole Club of Ohio?
There actually is a Seminole Club in Columbus. I've been invited to it, and I'm too crazy to watch games in public, so I've never actually gone. Yeah. But there actually is one in Central Ohio, which I always found fascinating.
That's cool. Off season, we should do a power ranking of the best Nole gear that's made by all the Seminole clubs. Like I think the Tampa Noles hat that Mike and his group, that they put together there for the Tampa Noles thing. We always do the speaking engagement preseason. That's always a good one. So yeah, if you guys got really dope gear, we will like to display it. Put that
for sure. That's super cool.
All right, Panini's going out for now, and Seminole Club of North Texas is going in here. All right, that's great. If you're listening at home, obviously on the audio feed, that's probably not what you love. But hey, you know what? Anything to put a smile on the Nole faces after the season that we've been having with some of these ups and downs. Let's get down to it.
I would like to ask a question first before we go offense or defense.
Yeah.
How much do we put into the soft factor of crossing the country to play this game? 10:30 body clock. The game's not going to finish until your body feels like it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. How concerning is that, given what we have seen, not just in the ACC, but like the Big Ten? You see a lot of teams crossing from one way or the other, typically don't play all that well, and more often than not do take a loss. It is Stanford, but will this game be closer than it should just from that aspect alone?
I think it's certainly possible when you look at this, and the data is still early, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, you have seen some pretty big upsets, both in terms of actually on the field and the spread, there from some of these weird body clock games. Now, Florida State actually has done an okay job sometimes when it travels out west. They had the game at BYU. I remember, was that 09 or 10 or 08?
That was 09. That was when G5 picked them off. We won like 54-26 or something like that.
Ponder ran like all over. They were not really prepared for Ponder's legs. I didn't think in that one. You had the weird game where was it Antoine Smith ran all over Colorado out there?
Yeah, that was a 16-6 game in 2007, the week before the Bama game.
Yeah, that was wild. I remember watching that at Galette's actually.
We also struggled against a bad USC team though in like 1997. That was like a 14-7 ball game, and that wasn't
out there.
That wasn't a good USC team. So, and then of course you had mixed results playing in the Rose Bowl. 13 you win the national championship. 14 against Oregon, not so great. So
you didn't cover either time. Like I mean, you were by body of work, you were way better than that Auburn team. Now, granted, they did have your signals as KB pointed out on the broadcast, and once Jimbo changed the signals up and hid the signals in the second half, 31 average over 9 yards of play from that point forward. So it seems like
things changed quite a bit.
What happened to triple your yardage?
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, I think traveling across the country is one of those things that it's funny because you have the whole staff, every single person's involved. You have the training staff, you have the nutritionist, you have every single person involved trying to make sure that everyone is trying to be as consistent with their schedule as possible. I don't know if we see a ton of issues, but again, it's really hard because I don't know how well Norvell is able to corral these guys because it's all about that leadership. It's all about so I go from not going to California ever to then going 2 times in 1 year, which is really cool. But like you go to California, you're especially with a bowl game and stuff like that, you're going to go do things. You're going to try to be able to explore and do some of those things. So we're obviously leaving a day earlier in order to get acclimated. Like how well, like we were talking about, Chuck, how well do they stay focused? How well do they stay involved with what's going on in the moment? And with some of the losses that we've had, do we have everyone involved? I really don't know what this football team is at the moment. I don't think anyone does. So I think going across the country is going to be some sort of situation as far as them and their body clocks and everything, but I don't know if it plays like a really significant role.
Well, and another thing, Nile and I were talking yesterday, and I said to him, I wonder if Norvell's going to switch up practice this week because they do have the bye next week, right? So is he trying to practice later in maybe not practice at 10 o'clock, but are you trying to practice later just to get their bodies to be more acclimated, knowing that you're going to have to play so late for what you're used to? And you will have next week to try to get back regulated on the East Coast time because you do have the bye before the Wake Forest game. So I'm curious if he's trying to practice at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night just to somewhat simulate what they're going to have to deal with so that they aren't zombies. That's my biggest fear. It's not that they aren't focus wanes when you're tired, and I'm worried they're going to be tired in that second half because it's going to be 1 a.m. to their body, and anybody is going to struggle with that. I mean, just going out on vacation on the West Coast, you drag ass by the time what you feel like should be bedtime, and the sun's still out, right? So you can only imagine what these players are having to go through, especially ones who maybe have never been to California in their life, right? This is going to be a shock to the system for some of these kids.
No, I agree.
It's also going to be like colder than they realize out there. I haven't even checked the weather, but just like, having gone out there, obviously we made a trip out there to preview this. You'll see some content coming on some of the Nolecast, social channels. Hit up Inglenook, hit up Coppola, a bunch of those wineries out there. That's kind of a preview of what we have going on, out there. I know a lot of Noles, I think, saw this trip and were like, hey, we're gonna go hit Napa during the week and then go to this game, to kind of be the nightcap on that trip because it is so close, right? You can fly into San Fran and hit Napa for a day or two, come down. Stanford's got a beautiful campus. I mean, just absolutely beautiful, and go check it out. So, yeah, I mean, dude. Early on in college football with these mega conferences so far, and it's still early within the kind of the life cycle of these mega conferences, you definitely are seeing like teams struggle with like the cross country travel, for sure. My one thing here is, so Bruce obviously at Florida State, right? He was with the Rams for a while, wasn't he? So I wonder if they don't make a couple calls like, hey, NFL guys, how are you handling like the because like east to west travel is different than just going up and down the eastern seaboard. So my guess is they probably consult with some NFL teams in the offseason to pre-plan for this trip. I know that's something that they were looking into in the offseason. So I mean, obviously they're not going to just throw away their notes because the season's not going well.
I've noticed a lot of the Big Ten teams have started leaving on Thursday to go when they have to go. Like OSU did it before they went to Washington. I think Penn State did it going to LA to play UCLA. And FSU was leaving Thursday instead of Friday to go to Palo Alto. So hopefully an extra day of acclimation is good. But as I even mentioned to Nile, that throws you off. These guys are such creatures of habit. So you wonder, not practicing on Thursday and then getting walkthrough on Friday and getting on the plane, how much that just disrupts your normal flow of what you're used to. So what I'm really curious to see, do they start fast and then can they maintain it in the second half? Because really that's been a problem for the team, even on games played on this side of the country, right? They haven't been able to sustain it in the second half. And that concerns me when you factor in the fatigue that could play into it, given the time of that their bodies are going to think it is. And I know people are probably thinking I'm making way too much of this, but
no, it's
too many teams have gone across the country and lost football games that were better than the team they were playing of late. So I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, it's in the stats, as well as it's a good point, especially with Stanford not being all that great. It's probably going to be one of the bigger things that are going to play a role in this game. But we were talking the other day, me and Chuck, and as we were talking about how in 2014, the back half of 2013 going in 2014, we started traveling the day before. So we started traveling on Thursdays. But Chuck, I think one reason why we started traveling more consistent, and we also, even at home games, we would then go to the hotel a little bit earlier and try to acclimate that. I think that was to create somewhat of a schedule to where like your body was prepared for it and you were ready for that Thursday wind down, and then you were able to kind of ramp back up once we start on Saturday. But you have a Friday like full day, wake up, you do all your regimen, you do your meetings, you do your walkthroughs, and then we go to the movies, and then after the movies we go eat, do all those different things. But like you get used to that to where you can peak, but there's no acclimating, there's no real true acclimation for being able to go over and playing at 1 o'clock in the morning. But if Norvell does a halfway decent job, these boys are these college athletes that probably stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning anyways. We should be okay. We should be all right.
You're saying you guys didn't always go to bed right on time?
Seriously.
Oh my gosh. All right, just looking at the forecast here, we are.
Yeah, is it going to be cold?
I mean, the low is 55 in Sacramento, so it's going to be colder than that in the Bay Area. Like
it'll be damp. It'll be damp too, because you got that wind coming off the Pacific Ocean. Like it's a wet, heavy air a lot of times, especially this time of year.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of the stats here. Chuck prepared the stats comparison as always. See if we can get this going here. All right, so pulling this on screen. So we're looking here. Let's go ahead and first talk Stanford's offense and FSU's defense. That's been a bit of a pain point recently because the pass defense has just been, I mean, guys, like just awful, to be honest. There's no real way to sugarcoat this. This is, not a very green chart for FSU here. And granted, like this also bakes in the FCS game and the Kent State game, which might as well and really should be FCS. I would have to think. Shout out, speaking of California, shout out to Sean Lewis for doing a great job at San Diego State. Probably the only guy that has done an okay job at Kent State in like the last, 8 decades.
Yeah, since Nick and Saban was there.
Yeah, really. So they're not like crazy spread. Obviously, they're going to use multiple tight ends at times. I mean, you got one tight end's got 140 snaps on the year. You got another who has 383. You get mostly 3 wide, not a lot of 4 wide stuff, not a lot of 2 back, 11 personnel. Gulbranson, the quarterback, has been around forever. The story that I read is he was actually was trying to go to dental school because he thought he was done playing college ball. And then they were like, hey, come here. And I don't know if the story was like, we'll get you into Stanford dental school or something, but like they convinced him somehow to play one more year of football. This kid was like horrendous the first 2 games. I mean, a PFF passing grade of 29 and then 34 against Hawaii and BYU. Since then, he's actually played much better, like much better. Very good grades in the final 4 games in which Stanford has a couple wins. So SMU did smoke them 34-10, and that was not really a super competitive game. How worried are we with this Stanford offense, which profiles as pretty bad, with the FSU defense, which also does not profile as great?
I think one of my concerns is, and the chart doesn't really reflect this, they haven't been awful at home. They've had some competitive games. They're 4-3 in their last 7 home games. Now, granted, they played some bad teams in there, but I mean, even against the ACC, they lost to Vatech, SMU, and Wake Forest, but they upset number 19 Louisville last year at the end of last year in Palo Alto, and they already beat BC this year. So I don't think they will put up a fight. And I have concerns about the fact that the one thing they're not awful at is probably throwing the ball. Their yards per attempt is 73rd in the country. So we have seen it be an issue, especially the yards after catch. So I'll be curious to see what Tony White has schemed up to try to take away that, because I don't think this team's going to be able to line up and run against this defense. But if we continue to struggle to get pressure on there and just allow him to sit there and throw against the zone and everything's right in front of him, and we haven't tackled great, that could be the one concerning thing about this offense versus defense is if you don't cover and you don't tackle, everybody has a chance. It's really that simple.
Let's clip that. That is great insight right there. Oh my God.
No, that's speaking facts. I think Tony White, based off listening to his press conference, I think Tony White's going to kind of slow things down a little bit, especially when you say, I'm trying to win it on the chalkboard. If you try to win on the chalkboard, then that really means that you probably really try to dial and scheme things out that your defense just was not if they just weren't receiving in the same way that you wanted them to. So one thing that it's obvious that we're just not tackling well. We're not being able to do some of the real fundamental things that we should be able to do as a defense. And I think one of those reasons on why that's happening so often is because of how complex the defense is. So if we're not focusing on the fundamentals, we're not focusing on these like key things of tackling and doing some of those things, it's probably because we're doing extra walkthroughs on trying to figure out what it is we're supposed to be, who our keys are. So in some of those drills where we should be doing some of those tackling drills, doing some of those regular drills that we are absolutely, we kind of have to do on a day-to-day basis, we're like, hey, coach, we're going to get an extra walkthrough session in order for us to make sure that we're communicating correctly. Hey, we're going to go ahead and walk through this so that way we can figure out what it is that we're doing. Hey, during this period, we're going to extend it out a little bit more in order for us to figure out what we're doing. So with all those things being the case, on top of when you don't know what you're doing and not moving fast, those things are going to slip. And we've seen them. So I think based off what he said, he's probably going to be a little bit more simple on his game plan this week, as well as Stanford not being all that great of a run offense. It's going to give him an opportunity to say, hey, let's go ahead and settle back a little bit. Let's go ahead and keep an extra guy out there. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're kind of doing some of the more basic things that his defense offers instead of us trying to like go kind of toe for toe like he's been doing, just because we're not picking it up. It's just not happening.
I mean, is it crazy to think it's going to be a very simplistic like they did against Kent State and East Texas A&M? Because it didn't feel like they didn't want to show a lot. They just kind of went out there and played, right? So maybe that is the best thing for this team this week, because I don't think it's crazy to say Stanford is slightly better than Kent State. They're not as bad, but they're still not a good football team. So you shouldn't have to go deep into your bag this week. Do what you do well and just let your athletes go out there and make some plays. And you should be able to get out of there giving up maybe 17 or 20 points. And that's probably going to be on a busted coverage or two, right?
Yeah. I think it's important to remember what this team is, right? Like, you are still the team that played a really good game against a Bama team that played probably a poor game, right? You are a team that lost a single score game. It wasn't fluky to be single score. You weren't lucky to be single score in double overtime at the UVA team, which has proven to be like a decent team. You know, you kind of got whipped by Miami. I think the final score there was misleading, to be honest, but you didn't lose by 40, right? Like you were good enough to get it back to a score. Like, you never had the ball with a chance to win, but like it is what it is. It wasn't I guess by definition, like true garbage time, although it may be pseudo garbage time. And you played a poor game, I think, against Pitt, obviously, and still had a chance to beat them, right? So like, that's why you're favored by 17.5 points here on the road, despite the fact you've lost 3 straight, despite the fact you haven't won a conference game in over a calendar year. You're favored by 3 scores in this game on the road in a weird body clock game that you probably don't have a lot of motivation to get up and play because Stanford is pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, like to Nile's point, I mean, now you watched them. Like, what do you think about their offensive line?
I don't think they're very good, but so their offensive line is not, they just don't have the fundamentals that it takes in order to really protect the quarterback well. And the quarterback knows it. So I think, I hate to say it, but this week, we are going to probably see the floor of this defensive line when it comes to being able to pass rush. Like we're going to see, like if we cannot get pressure on the quarterback this week, it's because we just can't, and we won't. Like all season.
Yeah.
It's like this has to be the game that we have a couple guys break through. We have a couple guys be able to make some flash plays in the backfield, be able to get some sacks. This has got to be that game. So I think it still is a good opportunity for us to see some stuff, as well as with some younger guys, as well as with some vets. Let's see what we got, but it is probably going to be the floor. Let's see what we can produce.
Makes sense.
We can get
All
after it for sure.
All right. So as far as the guys you got to worry about most on this team, CJ Williams, their receiver, is like one of the better receivers in the conference. Not amazing, not special. Bryce Farrell has had some pretty good games for them. The back, Micah Ford, is like a decent back. I agree with Nile. I think Nile's eyes don't lie here. Like obviously, like their offensive line has been not great. I don't think they're special athletes, and they certainly don't seem to play all that together. The quarterback is not crazy mobile, right?
Right.
Which might help you a little bit. Like he looks like a guy who should be in dental school, right?
Yeah,
Which like that's not just some random joke. He literally was going to dental school until Stanford pulled him. This is the kid that played. If you're like a real college ball nerd, you would remember like he played at Oregon State, Ben Branson, and he when he got in there against some of their tougher opponents back when it was the Pac-12, it was not very pretty. I mean, like, it did not go well.
He was a quarterback before DJU there, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. And I forgot who went down, but like he ended up having to play one game against at Utah, and it was really quite rough for them. Obviously, Utah's a tough place to play. So yeah, I mean, this should be the game if the defense cares, if they show up at all. Like, if you're in that building, I mean, you're not immune to it, man. And like those guys, like on the one hand, I mean, they're paid millions or hundreds of thousands. Not everybody though. Like support staff's not, right? Like your analysts are not, and those guys, they have families too. Those guys move their families when they come to town. So, like, I'm sure that they're not immune from the distractions. They probably hear the noise. Oh shoot! Like, is this a move that's going to happen now? Is it going to happen into the season? Is it going to happen, sometime next year? Et cetera. Like, do the players sense that? Right? I don't know that any of us ever played on a team where it's like, oh shoot, the staff's about to get fired, right? But I do wonder like how much that matters here, and not that Tony's about to get fired, independent of like a total regime change. Obviously, he's got a pretty good track record overall. But like, I mean, if you're Mike, what are you telling these guys to play for? Like just play for your pride.
Yeah, pride is enough. Pride is enough.
Should be.
Like, especially football is such a gladiator sport. It is a prideful sport. No one is trying to go out here and get dominated. Like, that is not a thing. Like, these individuals, so think about it like this. You have some of these players that go after the game, though they lost, they're still going to post and share their highlights on social media. That is because I'm taking pride in what it is that I do. Do I hate that the team lost? Yeah, but it's all individual matchups. It's how you could work and play together. So I think Norvell is definitely going to be pushing the pride situation, as well as being able to make a bowl game. There's still opportunity there for these players. You don't want to put any bad film out there as well if you are aspiring to go to the next level. So there's a lot of things for Norvell to be able to push for these guys to play for. But I think when we kind of throw all the crap out and we're kind of looking at mano a mano, The biggest thing that I'm playing for is for me not to get drove off the ball. It's for me not to have like my family watch me get my ass whooped and my ass freaking get bombed on in the end zone. Like, I'm not going to do that. That can't happen to me.
Right.
And if these players are in the league that they are, which they're at Florida State, one of the most coveted schools you could go to, that's not going to be the case. So it's just, how can we work together in order to make that happen? Can Norvell figure it out and say the things that he needs to be said? Hopefully he can. But this game will be a really big tell, because again, we should win this game. It is across the country, but if we can't like pull this together during this game, I think things continue to progress, but we'll see. I really want to see what we do, especially on defense. I don't want to go on a tangent, but as far as what Tony White's been going through and what he's got going on, like,
well, I also feel like the game's going to be decided by the defense, right? The offense, we haven't talked about yet, but Stanford's defense is atrocious, and the FSU offense, even through the struggles, has still moved the ball very well. They've had turnover issues, but they've been successful moving the football up and down the field and putting points on the board during this losing streak. So I'm not as worried about them showing up. I mean, if the injuries are concerning, we have no idea which wide receivers are actually going to be healthy and available this week. So that's a concern, but they should be able to run the football even with, everybody in the building knowing it's coming, just because Stanford is terrible at pretty much every facet of defense. My concern is, will the defense show up? And if they give up an early score, do they go, oh God, here we go again? Because that's almost how it felt against Pitt. Like, they gave up early, 3 fourth down conversions on that first drive for Pitt. Like, this defense needs to see something successful early in the game, or I'm going to be very concerned, and I may have to go to bed at halftime just so I don't get angry. I'm just going to be on. Like, I need the defense to show me something in that first 10 to 15 minutes to give me some kind of sign that they're going to play hard for 60 minutes and get the W. And if like I said, if they show up early, I'll feel pretty good about them getting a win. But if they go out there and they immediately give up a drive to this offense, that's going to be really, really concerning and probably not bode well for the ultimate outcome of this game.
Yeah, and if you lose this, I mean, like, the whole season really could spiral. Like,
there's a bye week next week. There's probably some kind of move made if they lose this game. Let's be honest.
I would agree. I think if you lose this, you probably got to call the private equity guys and be like, all right, y'all are about to get rich off us because we got to make a move. So.
I don't want to bring everybody down, but I'll just call out a few stats. This team is 2-13 in their last 15 against Power 5 teams. They haven't won a road ACC game since November of 2023 at Pittsburgh. Like,
that's the Ja'Kai Douglas game with
yeah, that's when Fintrell made that great play to force the fumble down by the goal line on that big pass play by Pitt that completely changed the complexion of that ball game. So I have concerns that whatever Norvell's been trying to do has not been working when they leave Doak Campbell. So hopefully he changes some things up, especially given the other circumstances they're dealing with. But yeah, I mean, and I think this is kind of a reflection of not getting the right attention. They're 4-7 when both teams are unranked. So you're playing unranked ACC teams that are more than likely really bad at talent acquisition. And while FSU's isn't where it should be, it's still better than the vast majority of the ACC. And to go 4-7 in those games when you both don't really have anything to play for. And I feel like that's kind of what outside of playing for people's jobs, what do they have to play for? They're not going to win the ACC. They're not going to go to the playoffs. It's outside of just making a bowl. That's all they have to play for at this point. I want to see what motivation they show up and bring on their own, right? And because it hasn't been good in the past under this head coach in these type of situations.
One more thing I was thinking about for your guys who were like not seniors. This is the first year in which, hey, guys, rev share is a thing, and like the tape you put on now is the tape you're going to get paid off or not paid off next year. Right? Like if the pride, which should be the thing, if that's not enough, you go out there and you put up bad tape, we're not paying you much and nobody else is either. Right? Like that's just kind of how it's going to work. It's a results-based business, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it. Another thing that's a results-based business, of course, is our friends at Congruity. Congruity HR Solutions. They do an absolutely great job optimizing your business, whether that's HR, payroll, if you need medical insurance, any kind of insurance solutions for your business. Definitely hit up Congruity. All their contact info right there in the show notes. Just click on it. When you click on our show, they do a tremendous job. And obviously, we've had more than 10 Nolecast listener businesses hit them up and work with them. And obviously, Graham has sent them quite a bit of business as well. So let's talk a little more about this Stanford defense. Looking at the PFF numbers, they got one kid who rates really well on the D line. This Clay Patterson, number 91. Watch him. He does make some splash plays, for sure. Everybody else is like in a 50 or a 40. Like, they don't even have guys on the D line in the 60s. I mean, it's just like, oof, this is not really going to work. Matt Rose is a backer for them. He's a decent player. Got a couple guys in the secondary who have been okay. They don't have to get thrown on a whole lot, right? Because teams can run on them pretty well. If you look over here on the right, I mean, they're really definitely not doing so well with a lot of this stuff here. Chuck, and now what really pops out to you when you watch this side of the ball for Stanford?
I think it was kind of tough watching this film versus Stanford, because my whole mind is just, everything that I'm thinking is we play down to our competition. So, and it's been week in and week out that we'll play up for a team and try to play and get in that game, and then we'll turn around and just play really poorly. So every snap that I watched, that kind of, I'm excited to, Mike, I think we can actually exploit this. It's just they're watching the same thing. So I don't know if this game honestly matters much about the X's and O's as it really, really matters if this team is willing and the defense can actually figure it out. It was so tough. This is probably one of the toughest weeks, because I'm like, this game does not matter about Stanford. Like, I won't even be watching Stanford. Like, they're just not a good ball club. But if we do not play our game, we will look worse than Stanford. So it's a little bit worrisome to me. But I just hope that when we come into this game, we play with a sense of urgency. I think, again, offense is going to score. But if we turn the ball over, it doesn't matter. So that's my biggest thing on offense. Like, look, we're going to be able to run the ball. We'll be able to throw the ball. We'll be able to do multiple different things. Their defense isn't very disciplined. There's a lot of holes there that we can be able to exploit. But if we turn the ball over, it doesn't matter. If we allow their offense to get some sort of rhythm on us, it doesn't matter. If we're not playing sound defense, it doesn't matter. So this game I will be watching Florida State. I'll be watching them from the second they leave the tunnel, the second that they're on the sideline. I'll be watching everything about Florida State just to see if there is some sort of opportunity to be able to win this game, as well as going to the rest of the season.
Just to call out something about turnovers, FSU is 109th in the country at fumbling the football at almost one fumble per game. Stanford is 26th in the country recovering almost one fumble per game. So, like, if you put it on the ground, fumbles are luck. Turnovers in general are, but they seem to be good at identifying where the ball is and actually falling on it. So if you put the ball on the ground, you could have a long day in this game. I mean, you say that in most football games, but they actually seem to be good at recovering it. So I just wanted to call it out. Like, don't put the football on the ground. They're not very good at intercepting it. So at least Tommy shouldn't have, I don't want him to be reckless abandon, but they don't seem to jump routes or anything like that. So you shouldn't be putting the ball in a ton of harm when you throw it. And I mean, their pass numbers kind of reflect that. They're really bad against the pass, but don't fumble the ball. And given how much Tommy has to play some of those like hand games, try and put it in the running back's gut and pull it back, that's where you can run into some of those issues with the fumbles. Somebody doesn't squeeze it right, or they try to take it when Tommy wants to keep it, and all of a sudden a defensive lineman jumps on a football that's on the ground in the backfield. That's what we need to avoid.
I do think it's important to note that, like, there's a certain amount of fumble recovery that is luck, right? Like, we know, because otherwise Saban's Bama teams would be top 10 in fumble recovery every year, right? Like the way the ball bounces. I mean, you see like national championship teams that are bottom half in the country in recovering fumbles, especially like on a percentage basis, you know. So playing more zone can help if you have more eyes on the ball, right? Like that there are certain things that help you be a little bit better at it marginally, but like holding on to the ball, that's actually proven to be a skill. Like certain guys fumble a lot. Certain teams, for whatever reason, seem to fumble a little bit more. Usually it's just like player based. So yeah, like please stop fumbling the ball. This offense feels like we score about the least amount of points you could possibly score based on the yards put up in some cases.
Yeah.
You know, which is weird. But like it's also very, very shot based, right? So
we gotta finish.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the key. Because that the offense is gonna have plenty of opportunities.
Plenty. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some new faces. I want to see Elijah Moore. I'm looking forward to Tommy not having a choice. If Deuce Robinson does not play, which it seems like he may not, we'll see. And I won't mind if he doesn't play. Give him a rest. Give him a break. Let him heal. But I want Tommy to have to throw it to some other guys. Obviously, Pittman seems like he'll be back, but let him be able to find the groove with a couple other wide receivers. We have some options. It is obviously the depth isn't very great, but we do have some options, and it will allow for better opportunity when Deuce does come back. So I want to see that. I want to see Florida State football. That's what I want to see during this game. I want to see what it is that we could put together and see how if we can actually finish plays and be able to finish plays on defense, on and on offense. That's really what this game boils down to.
Makes sense to me. All right. We have anything else to share here? We got predictions. What do you want to go with?
Yep, we can go with the predictions.
All right. We'll get these fired up here on screen. Is that right? That's not the one I need to share. So we're going to remove that. At the X, we will go share screen here.
This is a good weekend of football too, just in general. We're the last one of the weekend, but it's a good weekend of football.
For sure. All right. So kind of zooming in here, we have the line for the game, 17.5. Total is 53.5. So the expected score kind of 36-18 per the boys in Vegas. I'm going 38-27. Chuck went 34-20. Nile went 35-24. SP Plus 37-18. FEI 35-19. FPI 39-17. I think the power ratings are like a little bit too negative on the Stanford team because of the first two games under the new coaching staff. Like they really didn't have their act together like at all. I mean, you had a lot of guys posting grades in like the 20s and 30s, which is like what an FCS team would post against a decent team. And one of those was against like Hawaii, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I got 36-20 on my model this week. So
yeah, that and yet we're all like a little bit nervous about losing this game, right?
It's some soft factors, man. Like we don't know how they're going to handle the travel and the time of the game and all. That's the biggest reason why I didn't go like 41-17 or something like that. If this was a game that was just up the coast on this side of the country, I probably would have. But given they have to go out west, it scares me. I watch a lot of football, and this isn't an FSU problem. This is a college football problem. Kids don't play well crossing 3 time zones.
Makes sense. Any parting thoughts here, guys?
Please win.
Yeah.
Let's
put it together.
Let's just win a game. Like in this losing streak, and just go into the bye with some kind of something to buoy you for a little bit. It's been depressing on social media, and I'm not exactly the most sunshine pumper there is, but even I'd just like to see them win. Just focus on football for at least a week instead of all the other outside factors.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like, finding a way to not be sweating a bowl game going into Florida would be absolutely amazing. And there are young guys on this team who are likely going to be around next year. And I want to see them continue to develop, and see, like, also look, if Tommy's going to be back, if they want him back, this is a good opportunity. Like we were talking about, like, can he develop more as a leader? Can he keep these guys from, spiraling out? Not that it's all on the quarterback. Obviously that's kind of definitely the head coach's job too. And like down through his assistant staff. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'd say the biggest thing to watch out for as you're watching this game is going to be seeing the concepts that Tony White comes out with. There's really not much concern about this team other than really the defense, obviously. So watching the concept that Tony comes up with as far as how simple he comes with this scheme and how players match, and if players are filling, if we're blitzing, just that'll be really the biggest key factor in this game, is watching if he trusts his defense to continue to run his scheme, or we see a much, much, much dumbed down version of it.
I like it. All right, guys. I'll see you next time.